regardless, as of right now, the Raiders and Stafford have reached common ground on a new contract.
I'm not shocked by that. I mean, we said this from the start. When the first day we heard this, I said, of course the Giants will pay Matthew Stafford what he wants. They're desperate. Of course the Raiders will pay Matthew Stafford. That's not going to be the problem from these teams' standpoint. They're trying to jumpstart their organizations if they're the Raiders with Pete Carroll and Spytek as the new GM and Tom Brady. So, yeah, they're willing to do that. The Giants, right, I wouldn't be shocked if they'll pay a price for whatever Matthew Stafford wants to, because Daboll, Joe Shane, this could be it. Do they really want to go rookie quarterback in the year that it could be the year they get fired? No, they don't. So that's why I'm not shocked that he's going to get the number he wants. But again, I get into I'm shocked that he might want to even entertain this idea to go to the Raiders, where we know the team it's okay. I'm not going to say it's one of the worst teams in football. There's some pieces there, but it's towards the bottom. It's the bottom quarter of the league, right? And then you talk about, okay, so you're going to get Matthew Stafford. Great. You're going to pay him a lot of money, okay, and take away some resources there. And then what are we going to have to give away to get Matthew Stafford? And now hurt the future prospects of our football team? And, oh, yeah, he might leave in 2 years and just say the hell with it. And then we're going to go, wow, we gave him a lot of money. We're in a little bit of a salary cap crunch. And, damn, we gave away the 6th pick to get him in the draft and maybe some other picks too. And here we are. We can't even rebuild our team. We lost a little money. And, hey, those 2 years with Matthew Stafford are really good. I think that's where, I'm shocked that Stafford wants them. And to me, a little bit from that standpoint, it doesn't totally make sense for the future of the Raiders as a big picture. It's a splash now, but not big picture awesome.
Well, it's just an effort to try the best they can to improve the team as much as they can immediately.
Yeah.
I think that's what the move
is.
And Pete Carroll gave some comments to someone, probably the Las Vegas Review-Journal, about his belief that they can become contenders quickly. Look, there's a fine line between confidence and delusion. If you're in a different division, maybe I could see it. It's going to be hard in the AFC West. It's going to take a lot of work. But getting a guy like Matthew Stafford is one of the pieces that you need if you're going to have any chance to become immediately competitive.
They got money, right? They got money to spend.
Right.
So
they have the money. And if all else fails, they can hawk Tom Brady's watch, and that'll bring it enough to finish the gap. What do you think the number is for Stafford? What's the over-under on what the average annual value of the contract will be?
I'm going to say it's 60 or barely above, like something like that, right around that range. Or it's somewhere.
On a short-term deal?
Like somewhere in a average of, what do you think it is? Going to be a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal?
I think that it'll be hard to really
get the average because of how they do the guarantees and all that.
And he's got 2 years left, and it'll be new money. It'll be all that bull crap that agents use to make the number bigger than it really is.
I mean, he's going to go north of Jared Goff and buy
I think it's going to be between 55 and 60.
Okay,
right. I don't think he's going to get more than Prescott, but he's going to get more than Goff.
I thought maybe with all this, he might be like, I just want to go one up on Prescott. But it's going to be in that general area. I think we agree on that.
And the fact that his remaining cash, the average value on his current deal is 40. But his remaining cash is less than that. And if you base it on the remaining cash, it's not as hard to pump up and get the number in that 55 to 60 range without it being a hard 55, 60. So it'll be one of those that there'll be a number that everyone runs with, and then there'll be a real number once we get a chance to look at it. But I think the new money average is going to be between 55 and 60. The real number will be less than that, but it at least gets him in that stratosphere. And for most of those guys in that stratosphere, the real number is less than the 55, 53, whatever. You have to take a close look at it to see what it's really worth. So how much do you think the Raiders or the Giants, because the Giants are still in this.
I would think
so. How much do you think they give up for Stafford to the Rams?
I mean, a first-round pick and something else added to it, right? I would think it's in that range, somewhere first-round pick and something maybe mid-round. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be multiple high-round picks, not for somebody at this part of their career, and then you add on the fact that he wants more money and we got to pay him that. So I would think that. Plus, if I'm the Rams, right? I mean, where you're at in this situation right now, I'm not letting him go for anything. Well, like we just talked about, the other aspect is the Rams are ready. They're ready. The Rams, would it surprise you or me that if they're in the Super Bowl next year? No, not really. If I was sitting here right now, I know that's before free agency and we know how it looks, but it's on that trajectory. So there's no way they're just going to give them away for nothing. And then as we've talked about too, quarterback options, even if you get the number 6 pick, there's plenty of people in the NFL that are not sure either one of these quarterbacks are worth the number 6 pick in the draft. And then it goes down into, wait, do we want to now get Kirk Cousins in a trade somehow and do that, and we're not sure about his health status? Do we want to go Sam Darnold and see if he can really be something there, right? There's risk in all of that, right? You get Kirk Cousins, he doesn't play up to his capacity. They're going to hear like, oh, how could you trade for a guy that old that's had an Achilles injury and you saw how he played last year? Sam Darnold's going to be, did you really think he was the future of your franchise? Didn't you watch those last few games he played last year as soon as it goes bad? So that's where I think the Rams are going to drive a hard bargain in this. They're not just going to go, hey, here you go. Sorry, we're ready to go to the Super Bowl. We're going to let you take away the most important part of our Super Bowl pieces there.
You didn't see my text this morning.
No.
I heard they want a second-round pick.
A second-round pick?
Which, if that's true, all that stuff about we want to keep Matthew Stafford is, what would be the proper word?
That would be
bullshit?
Yeah,
would that be the proper word?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and you heard that from, you think, a pretty reliable source?
Yeah.
I would be shocked if
Not
they
to
let
be
it go.
confused with my normal unreliable sources.
No, well, I mean, sometimes you hear things like you and me, and we hear things, and we go, I'd like to hear it from somebody else to confirm it a little.
I trust the guy that told me.
That would change my thought.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked. I mean,
we'll see, though.
Reacting here live
the guy
to
who
that.
told me could be wrong.
Yeah.
We'll see. And it could be, I had a thought as you were explaining what the Rams would want. They can get more if they can set up a competition between two teams. You can always get more if you get them to bid back and forth. But if at the end of the day Stafford wants one of the two, that won't work. One of them's going to fall off. Like, hey, Matthew wants to play for the Raiders, so the Giants aren't going to bid it up to cause the Raiders to bid it up. And Matthew Stafford's going to have no interest in being party to something that causes the team he ultimately plays for to give up more stuff, because that's going to make it harder for that team to be better.
I agreed.
And it's less money they may ultimately want to pay him. They have common ground, but you still have to get the deal done. It's like, hey, sorry, we can't go this last little bit because, we had to, it ended up being a full-blown competition for your services, and we had to give up more than we wanted to give up to get you.
Yeah, but I'll still go back to all the things you said are right, 100%. I got to see it to believe it that the Rams will let Matthew Stafford go at this point of his career, where he's no question a top 7 or 8 quarterback in football, I think, with anybody you ask in the game, and just go, second-round pick, no problem. Oh, we'll take pick, 38 from the Steelers? I got to see that to believe it. I just don't see that happening.
It's just amazing to think that, 4 years later, not even 4 years later, just 3 years later, 3 years and 3 weeks later, the three most important pieces to the Super Bowl 56 winning team are gone.
Yeah.
Are going to be gone.
Right.
Aaron Donald retired, Cooper Kupp's getting cut, and Matthew Stafford's getting traded.
Yeah. And
it looks like that's all happening.
It is crazy. Aaron Donald, we know, still had good ball on him. Cooper Kupp, you've heard me say, it's on the downslope. Right? They don't have that many great receivers there in L.A., and they still couldn't get him the ball that much there down the stretch. I don't think there's going to be a huge market. This one, to me, is still eye-popping. It really is. And again, too, like, oh, you need a quarterback? You don't like what you see in the draft? Well, okay, then to get a quarterback, it's the number 6 pick in the draft. That's what you got to do. You're getting the franchise guy. It's number 6. That's what we want. I wouldn't settle for something down the road. If I'm the Rams, I want it now. I want your first-round pick, and I'm not letting Matthew Stafford go unless I get that.
If you had asked me 3 years ago, if you had given me the names Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, of the four, who is the most likely to be the cheese that stands alone?
Right.
McVay would have been the last guy I picked.
I hear you. I hear you there.
He would have been one of the first to go.
Yeah.
Got my ring, burn out, burning too bright, running too hot, talking too loud, talking too fast, and I'm out.
Well,
I'm going to Amazon or wherever. And he missed that by like 1 year.
Yeah, right.
Like the year they wanted
close,
him, the year they had the seat, he decided not to do it. And then when it swung back around, and it's like, hey, you got no, sorry, job's filled. Like we don't. There isn't a whole lot of turnover when it comes to whatever ridiculous money gets paid to the top analyst at the network.
Yeah.
There just aren't many jobs. When they're full, they stay full.
Well,
and
the current rate of what you get for, coaching is pretty damn good.
Well, I know it's not $37.5 million.
No,
not that anybody other than Tom Brady's getting that.
Nobody's getting that. Right, exactly right. But the other aspect is, and I've heard him talk about this, and he's even referenced it with me in some conversations of just that. I think he's found a new way to approach his job.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the biggest thing. I think there was a time there 3 years ago, 4 years ago, where he's getting burnt out and it was pedal to the metal all the time. I think when he got married, He started thinking about family a little bit. He's attacked it a little differently. And I think he's enjoying it more from the way I understand it compared to maybe when he was thinking about making the jump to TV there.
Having a kid, I think, ends up changing your perspective and maybe getting you to rethink your priorities. Who were we talking to?
Work smarter, not hard, harder sometimes. That's
We were
what it
talking
does
to
a lot
Mike
of times.
McDonald the other day about that. Like
He said 9 p.m. He goes, I'm done. My brain doesn't think clearly anymore, and I'm not going to make any big decisions anymore. So he starts to pack it up and say, see you later.
Because it would be very easy to tell yourself that if you just put in a little more time, if you just watch a little more film, you might see that one thing that will make all the difference.
Right.
Not at the end of the game, on a 3rd and 5 play.
Yeah, right.
In the
Right.
first half when the game is still in the balance, and if you stop them there or force a turnover or whatever, everything starts going your way. It's very easy to convince yourself to just keep going and going and going and getting your life out of balance. And it sounds like McVay was out of balance, but now it's back into balance, but he's not going to have Stafford or Kupp or Donald, but he's still got a pretty damn good team.
I mean, really, though, do you think he's not going to have Stafford? Do you think it's really going to really going to go down like this?
I think Pandora
I know, it's
ain't
open.
going back in the box.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think it's when you get to the point where there's common ground, I feel like that, because we always say it about your quarterback. The quarterback has to be all in. And once you've given him a chance to envision what it would be like to go to a new place, and he starts to want to go to a new place, I think it's very hard to slam the door in his face and say, nope, you're stuck here. And we expect you to come in early and stay late and be here on Tuesdays, unlike some quarterbacks, and be the leader. And, you can't have a quarterback who just is like, I really don't want to be here. I'm going to do the bare minimum. I'll show you.
No, you can't have that. There's no way that'll work. It's horrible for your organization. It's like what we talked about yesterday, like with Myles Garrett. If he's disgruntled and he's in the locker room, he's going to mess that locker room up. And that's the same with a quarterback who's not totally invested in his football team. So you're right about that aspect. This is one still I got to say, I got to see it to believe it too. I do believe McVay and Les Snead, as you've heard me say, are very good on the human side of things there. Obviously, Stafford wasn't mad. Maybe this moves the needle for the Rams to finally get up in the ballpark where Stafford wants it to be financially.
I don't think they will.
But I just look at it and just go, I'm still go, wow, okay, so the Raiders, and I know they got money to spend, but we got questions at receiver. We got questions.
Sign Cooper Kupp.
They could, but that doesn't move the needle for me or a lot of people.
I know, but it might move the needle for Matthew Stafford.
So it could be. It's somebody comforting there, but it's not going to be like, oh,
bring back Davante Adams.
I got him. Okay, maybe they could do that. Again, those are another thing I'd go, have fun with that. You go ahead and bring back Davante Adams. I don't think he's the biggest difference maker in the world. That's the blue chip guy they got right now. But other than that, we're talking about a lot of work here to be done. And then on the defensive side of the ball, as we've talked about with Max Crosby, and I've had fun with him. I mean, D-tackle, no marquee guy there. No other marquee pass rusher opposite Max Crosby. Kuntz is very good, but he got a little banged up last year. Secondary, solid. That's where I just look at it, and then we're going to pay Stafford and give away draft picks, and we got all these holes. And I'm just surprised Matthew Stafford, with all that, wants to go in that situation. And that's where I continue to just go, I got to see this happen before I believe it really goes down.
I think we talked about this earlier in the week. The mere fact that he's engaging in these thoughts and discussions, he's prioritizing getting paid over competing for a Super Bowl.
I guess so. I mean, because he's
Which is his right.
It is his right. I'm not mad at him. I'm surprised because of all the money he's made already, and I'm not judging. I get it. But I'm also surprised because if you took a poll of quarterbacks in the NFL and you said, give me the top 5 places you'd want to play in football, almost every quarterback is going to go, I'm Rams and McVay. I'd love to go there. He knows how to coach quarterbacks. People are open all the time. It doesn't matter who the hell's at receiver. It's shoom, shoom, people going everywhere. The run game works. He never blames the quarterback. Even when Jared Goff was playing like crap and deserved to be benched, he was like, oh, we still believe in Jared. Oh, he's a really good player. So, I mean, he's at a spot where, somebody sitting like me here talking to you is going, damn, I'd do anything to be in that spot there in L.A. And I think a lot of quarterbacks in football would.
Well, McVay did fall out of love with Goff.
I know.
Ready to move on.
No doubt.
And he has said he learned lessons from how he handled it. And I go back to, and I'm not specifically accusing Sean of not telling the truth. My belief is all football coaches at every level from time to time will have to strategically lie because it's in their best interest to do so. I think Sean McVay has learned that you gain nothing by saying anything other than, I want this guy. I love this guy. He's my guy. We want to work this out. Yeah, we have other business issues that are causing complications, but man, I want him here. When deep down he might be thinking, all right, it was time.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah, I hear you.
I hear it's time to move forward.
Listen,
it's
I hear you.
It's time to go younger at the position.
Right. That goes back to our good cop, bad cop conversation where we talked about
But good cop may just be acting good.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
It could be. There's no doubt. And there's a part that the coach has to play that part. You got to the locker room when you're in front of the microphone or doing anything like that. The locker room's listening. At least the 7 or 8 most important guys in the locker room are listening. The ones who love football are into it. They're going to go home and sit on the couch and, it's the nightly news and whatever else here in L.A. And, hey, hear what Sean McVay said, tonight at 7, blah, blah, blah. And those guys are listening. So McVay he's big in the messages. But I hear you there. But I can't imagine that Matthew Stafford's one of those guys. I just cannot imagine that. And then if all the times we dissect conversations and read people's body language, right? He gave us nothing from the Fitzpatrick and Whitworth podcast.
Well, no, because he didn't take a freaking breath.
Well, yeah, but he was strong. How we like it when you talk about somebody like sometimes we get on people and go, well, that's not a very strong answer. That doesn't.
I think he just turned the needle all the way up to 15 and thought, I won't pause, I won't breathe, I'll get all this out, and I won't give that asshole Florio a crack to say, there's his tell. There's his tell.
Well, I hope so.
Boom, right
I hope
through
that
it.
asshole Florio part's right. I hope so.
That's the truest thing you've said all year, really.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.